Tennessee Wildcast is live on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. Hey, we're excited about today's show. It's going to be a great one, and we're talking about women in the outdoors. Mentioned a story about some albino deer that were caught on camera last year, and we have the lady here that captured that footage, and she's going to tell us about that. And she's going to tell us all about her experiences in the outdoors, how she got introduced into that, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be fun. I have Mr. Don King with me.
Yes, sir, Jason. Thanks for the invite, and glad to be dealt in around our Wildcast poker table here.
Yeah, we'll deal everybody in today. Miss Amy Hall, we're going to deal her in and have her with us. We're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
If you're looking around, we've got a few more things on the wall.
Yeah, the decorator's been in, haven't they? Yeah.
We had to incorporate some of Don and I into the room. We got a drum back here, a guitar behind him, a Route 66 tie-in, and you may learn more about that in the shows to come, maybe.
That's a good idea.
Stuff like that. Keep you guessing. So, anyway, studio's looking cool, and I'm glad to be here today. Amy, we met Amy through Mr. Joe Benedict.
Yes.
He is our
Chief of the Wildlife Division here
Thank you, Don.
at TWRA.
Yes, yeah. And he does great work upstairs, keeping wildlife in order up there. And he said, I met this lady, or I know this lady, Amy Hall. She'd be a great guest. And then James Kelly, our deer biologist, said, I've seen her on a podcast. I think she'd be great for you. So,
right.
So Amy is here today, and we're glad to have her.
I appreciate it.
So tell us about yourself. I learned about you through Joe and James and the albino deer that you ran across, and that's kind of how we met. But tell us about yourself real quick.
Well, I come from Jackson, Tennessee. I'm originally from West Tennessee, and hit Alabama for a few years, and then back up here to Nashville in 2001.
Okay.
So we're in Smyrna now. It's my husband, and we've got two kiddos that are a little bit older, elementary school.
Yeah, fun times.
Fun times. They still like you at this age. So I'm enjoying that part.
Mom's
that
still
part of
cool
life.
right now?
Yes. I'm a photographer here in town.
Okay.
Family events, that kind of thing. Pretty much anything except for weddings.
Wildlife?
A little bit of wildlife.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I'd like to delve into that a little bit more, I think, as I grow in hunting.
Yeah.
And then I'm also an archery coach, a
Awesome.
Volunteer parent archery
Neat.
coach for the Tennessee schools here in the area.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we love archery. We love the outdoors. And
Yeah.
glad you're here today, and look forward to learning more about you and just talking about women in the outdoors. You're fairly new to the sport of hunting from the podcasts that I've seen online and learned about you. But who introduced you to the outdoors, and what got you interested into hunting?
I get that question a lot. It's when did you start? Who was it? Family? Was it when you were little? No, it wasn't. Nobody in my family hunts, and I think my brothers started hunting when they became teenagers, but I was already gone at that point in time. So this will be my 4th season hunting.
All right.
I think it was my husband was who inspired me to get started.
So you mentioned earlier before the show, before we started rolling tape, that your husband works in wildlife field as well.
Mm-hmm. He graduated from UT with wildlife and fisheries degree, and he's at the Corps of Engineers as a biologist.
Awesome.
So he has definitely pushed me into wildlife a little bit more than I ever had before.
Just hanging around him, I'm sure you pick up on things.
Oh, yes. The language, the jargon, all of that. But he did a great job when I started asking questions, and when I went through hunter safety, and when I started all that. He took on the idea of you're fully capable of doing this. If you have questions, ask. Here's what it looks like. Kind of set it all up to kind of for me to succeed. But then he said, okay, now you go do it. And so I never sat. I actually have never been hunting with another person.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
The first time I went up, I got out there and I looked at the tree stand. It's dark. I've got my headlamp on, and there are ants crawling up the ladder, and they're red ants. And I text him probably some language that cannot be repeated on here, and said, I don't know if I can do this. And ants are some people snakes, spiders, but I can't stand ants.
They come in an army, right?
Yes. And red ants, I didn't want to be sitting in that. And he said, well, honey, you can pull your big girl pants on and get up there, or you can come home and get back in bed. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. So I just would swish them off as I got up there. There was a snake skin up there when I got up there.
Really?
Like, it was like everything coming against me.
Yeah.
And I got up there, and it was kind of that sense of, I did it.
Yeah.
I have beat nature.
I'm here.
I am here. And then you just sit there and
you ready for the show, weren't you?
You watch the world wake up,
Yeah.
and it's a great feeling to be able to do that.
Well, you mentioned Hunter Ed. Tell us about your experience in Hunter education.
I did the online courses for the first part of it, and then went over for the day course. And I was the only female person in the room, which was kind of cool. I was probably the only one of 5 above the age of 20.
You don't see that much in classes. Most times it's kids.
It's a lot of kids, which is great. I loved seeing it. I would have loved to have seen more girls in there, and I think that that's changing as the years go by. My daughter will be one this year that will sit through that class, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the conservation side of it. I loved hearing that side of it. I loved hearing all the rules and regulations. I like to know what, and actually I think that was where I knew that it was illegal to shoot an albino deer. And so I really, really liked going through the course. I'm an information lover, so I love sitting through it and learning.
So would you encourage other ladies,
Yes.
adults even,
Yes.
not to, it's never too late to take Hunter education?
No. And even if you're not going to hunt, I think it's a great course to go through just to learn. I mean, you're living in the state of Tennessee. If you're living in the country, if you're living kind of in the outskirts, it's a great course to learn, especially about conservation and about what the hunting community does for our wildlife here.
You're right. It really is a lot of great background information. And, you did the online course, and there's a couple of ways to do it, for those that might be interested in this. You did the online course. You pretty much do that at home, prepare, and then you go in for the field day, right? And that's where you met up with all the other folks, and then they kind of road test you, to make sure that you've got the information and that kind of thing. And the other way to go about it is the traditional course, which usually meets 3 or 4, sometimes 5 times during the course of a week, and that's more, show up every day for the class. And some people, and I think maybe that's why it weighted a little bit more toward guys, because sometimes the boys might, I don't know, they've got football practice or Little League baseball or whatever's going on, and it seems like maybe there are a few more females in the traditional classes. But anyway, I'm glad to hear you say that about Hunter Ed, because I'm a believer in it too. My daughter took it, and she's 30 years old now. She's never hunted, but she loved going to the class and learning about what the conservation ethic is in Tennessee and what our agency does. It's a good info, a way to get the information about that.
I agree. I think, I don't know if my daughter will ever pull a trigger or let go of a bowstring. I don't know. We put up a double stand this year. She wants to go. I don't know if she'll ever get to that point. She might. She has a tender heart, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But
just to get her out there to experience it.
Get her out there, and I want her to know the rules.
Sure.
And I want her to know what. And we've talked conservation in our family for years and years, but for her to hear it from somebody else, and for her to kind of get an idea of the community around her. She's 11. It's a good.
Oh yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah, she's at a good age to to pull the trigger if she wants to. Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yes.
start them out too young. Sometimes you can scare them off. But
Yeah.
But that's great.
Yep.
That's great. And you mentioned the knowledge that comes out of those classes. I wanted to say, our volunteers, we have a lot of volunteers that teach classes. Our officers teach classes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing the information that they've gained over the years, and they can feed into the folks there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, let's move forward a little bit. Learning curves, or did it all come natural? So you said you went out that morning, and there's bugs and there's snake skins and there's all kinds of stuff happening. But after a few days, did it come natural? Did you feel like I can do this?
I feel like we might not go as often as, I might get out there 15 times in a season, which I think is really good.
That's more than I went this past year.
It's really good. But I feel like every fall, it's almost like a reintroduction to it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Christmas Eve, starting out that night before.
And everything.
And then getting back up in there, and then it becomes kind of secondhand. That first time I went out, I think the learning curve was climbing a stand, making sure your harness is on, that you're clipped in. It really is this high.
Yeah.
20 feet is a lot.
Uh-huh.
15, whatever it may be.
Trying to figure out, where are they coming from? Which direction are they coming from?
Uh-huh.
Am I high enough? Am I covered enough? When the sun comes up, am I in the sun? Am I, like, what are all of our, what are the things that I start noticing?
Uh-huh.
What wakes up first, the birds or the squirrels?
Yeah.
Is that a squirrel or is it a deer?
Right. Yeah, they'll drive you crazy.
They will. They really will. So I think that the learning curve was more just the little idiosyncrasies of it. But I felt well prepared going into it. It just kind of was it was nice to sit.
That's good.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have two little ones.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can't both just vacate the house, pre-dawn and just go out and go your own way.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? Shifts? I'm taking this Saturday morning, you take the next?
That is it's like a drawing straws. Who gets to go?
Flip the coin, right?
It is. And my husband, we've talked about that, and he said, I never thought of having to fight for getting to go. As soon as it gets too cold, though, he's out. It's all you. So I do more hunting December through January, in that last little bit when it gets too cold.
Okay.
But
you need two ladder stands, two double stands. So one can take one kill, one take the other. There you go.
We put up a double this year and a single, so we can actually figure some things out. But yeah, we need two doubles in there. Yeah.
So challenges, and you've mentioned a few maybe, and rewards, and is it relaxing? Just all that. And
the challenge is, I am not a very tall person. I'm not a very, I feel like I'm strong, but the challenges have been field dressing. Mm-hmm. I used to work in surgery. I was a scrub nurse for cardiac surgery at Children's, right as the new Children's Hospital opened at Vanderbilt. And so field dressing isn't that big of a deal to me, but it's the strength required. Mm-hmm. I got one of the jet sleds, which really helps me get a deer out. Mm-hmm. Made a huge difference this year. I can actually go by myself and not have to worry about, can I get this deer out? I can actually get it out, get it up on the back of my car, and have no worries about it. So I feel like the challenges a couple of years ago have kind of changed as I've evolved and learned. Mm-hmm. Some shortcuts in learning how to work to my strengths and weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your husband is supportive.
Yes.
But what do your lady friends say? What do your girlfriends say?
It's always, whenever somebody says, you hunt?
Yeah.
I thought you were a soccer mom, or it's not the
I
first.
am. I'm that too.
I drive a truck now, not a minivan, right?
I don't drive a truck, but I don't drive a minivan. Okay. But I think it's kind of a shock. All of my girlfriends that know are very supportive and excited for me and for our family. And I don't know, it's who you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've the only negative I've gotten have been comments from radios or podcasts or like anything like that. But you're going to find that anywhere.
Yeah, sure.
I've noticed that in listening to an earlier one that you guys really don't have to shop for meat anymore at the supermarket, right? Or very rarely.
Very rarely.
I
mean, we
before.
still get chicken or turkey, things like that, because I went pretty zero for turkey this year.
Me too.
It was my first time turkey hunting and got nothing, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. But yeah, we don't really buy beef anymore. It really helped out this fall. I know that we had the big beef scare with bacteria coming through, and it was kind of nice to have that. We don't have to worry about that.
Got a freezer full, right?
We have a freezer full. If you want tacos, we've got meat. I don't have to go to the store. We'll just thaw something. We use a processor out of
There's a lot of them.
It's out east.
Yeah.
Flowers.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
Flowers, and they are amazing. We don't have a facility right now. I could hit Joe up maybe. And it'd be nice to be able to process on our own. But until then, we really like Flowers and how they handle. It's quick. Between field and freezer, it's really quick, and I feel like they do a great job.
It's amazing, though, how easy it is to do it at home if you want to.
Yeah.
If you got the space and.
Yeah, that's the key, I think, having the place to do it.
Yeah.
The grinder is real cheap if you want to make hamburger out of that or whatever. But
yeah, I think our vegan Indian neighbors that we love very, very much, and they share all of their recipes and food, and we eat all of it.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think they would appreciate a deer hanging in the backyard or in the garage.
that close, huh?
We'll be a little respectful there. We'll go to Joe's.
Sure. I think a 10 by 10 tent be in your future, maybe with
Right?
some walls. So you can
Yeah. Hey, we boiled a couple heads on the back
Yeah.
back porch, and that might be enough for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into Becoming an Outdoors Woman. Have you ever been to a Becoming an Outdoors Woman event?
I have not, actually.
Okay.
I saw that you had sent that over, and I actually had no idea what you were talking about. So I would actually like to hear more about that.
Well, that's, if you're listening, if you've not heard of that or heard about that program, it just happened actually a week or so ago.
Right. First week in June.
And
Weekend.
so anyway, it's a 3-day weekend normally, and it's normally held in Crossville, but ladies can come and learn hunting, shooting, archery, camping, cooking,
Outdoor photography.
Yes.
photography,
Kayaking.
bird watching, kayaking, fishing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really well-rounded.
That sounds great.
And it's not only men that teach courses. There's some ladies that jump in there and teach courses as well, but a lot of agency folks and a lot of volunteers. But it'd be a great program.
It really would be.
Check it
I
out.
would love
Yeah.
to do that.
ATV riding, that's always fun.
That is always fun.
So anyway, okay, cool. Well, we want to get that plug in there because Becoming an Outdoors Woman is a great program. And then they have the Beyond programs where once you've been through that, you think, well, I want to go muzzleloader hunting or whatever. They have ladies hunts throughout the year that you can
step in on.
step in there and
That sounds great.
Take advantage of those.
Well, and it sounds like it's an automatic. Hey, you get to know the people that you can connect with. I've read in an article that women are the fastest growing in hunting. Like the numbers are crazy entering hunting, but they're also the fastest dropout rate. And so this sounds like it would be a great way to connect other women with each other in
Right.
order to keep it going. Because we don't want women to drop out. We want them to keep going to sustain it. And being discouraged as women as you get into it to then drop out, then you've lost that cause.
Yeah.
I think some clubs have formed or groups have formed with those classes, and you see them. They come to the hunts and stuff, and they continue to press on. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, you see those friendships develop, like you've developed with Joe, you
Yeah.
know, and a lot of the instructors keep in touch with the folks that have attended these events, and if they've got a question, they shoot them an email, and no problem.
Yeah.
Glad to help out.
I think that another positive thing is social media. I think before social media really took off, if a woman liked hunting, it would be really hard to reach across and touch another woman that was hunting. And so social media kind of closes that in. We talk about how negative it can be sometimes, but really it can be positive in connecting women and supporting each other.
Right.
I don't know. I've been pretty supported by some of the men, especially in the state of Tennessee, that if I've got a question, I usually, within a couple clicks, have an answer, whether it's finding it or asking the question. I'm
sure there's some women's groups out there on Facebook and stuff that you could join. I haven't researched any, but I'm sure there's a lot of places.
Hey, let's jump back just a second to the NASP program, National Archery in the Schools program.
Yes.
How'd you get involved in that?
My daughter.
Okay.
I did not actually, because we lived in Davidson County for so long, I did not know about the NASP program. And I think it's definitely grown in the past 5 years.
It has.
Crazy amounts. But when we moved into Rutherford County, they had archery starting in 4th grade. And since we bow hunt, it was kind of a natural thing for her to say, hey, I'd like to join this club at school. And I thought, oh, it's really sweet. You want to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow. I did not know at the time how involved it was and how great the program is at getting kids' hands on bows. And what it can do for students that might not necessarily be the most athletic kids in the school. You automatically think football, basketball, baseball, soccer, like those kind of things. But there's some kids that might not have that natural ability. And archery, I have found, has reached kids that might not necessarily have a group.
Right.
And now all of a sudden they have a group. And so she did that for the first year, and I kind of helped as the mom helper. And then went through the NASP program for coaches, and got certified and started coaching this year. So this was my first year coaching.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. And you know that what you just mentioned about the kid that doesn't maybe quite fit in with some of the other groups within school, that I hear that story over and over and over again, where the kids find something that they can embrace. And,
I agree.
And I've heard, time after time that it does increase school attendance, that kids are more enthusiastic about coming to school because they get to shoot that day.
It increases focus, it increases drive, it increases behavior. You've got to have grades, behavior, focus, like all of that in order to shoot, to be a part of the team. And, of course, I'm on the elementary level, so I've got these little 4th graders coming in who are looking all different directions. And by the end of the year, it is straight on focus. The safety of it, the drilling of the safety aspects of it, which we can admit 4th and 5th graders, that's what we're doing. We're focusing on that. So as they get into middle school, they already have that foundation. And so it has been a great thing to be able to volunteer and help with that.
It's amazing at the state shoot to stand up there in Rutherford County at Miller Coliseum, excuse me, and see the whistle commands cause a whole line of students step up to the line. They know what the whistle commands are, and as they hear those, they adhere to them. They shoot. They go check their scores, and I mean, it is so neat.
From all schools around,
right?
They know exactly what to do because they've been taught. What did I hear? They said that archery is the safest sport in schools right now, other than tennis, table tennis.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you've got a bow and arrow, and you're putting kids just inches away from each other. It amazes me that NASP has been able to create a sport that's safe.
Yeah.
And I love all the sponsors for NASP and the hunting community, from Hoyt to Matthews to I think Academy Sports, like all of these hunting people, from retailers to conservation.
Sure.
TWRA. It's just been a great way for kids not only to get their hands on bows, but to also get introduced to maybe hunting through 3D archery.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's been a really good experience.
That's awesome. We're going to run out of time, so we better jump into the
the big
reason
story.
We
got introduced.
So The albino deer. Tell us the story, and we're going to show a video,
Okay.
pictures on the screen,
Okay.
but people can watch if they're...
Well, actually, we had just come from a NASP tournament, and I thought it's a beautiful day. It's November, right before Thanksgiving, and I was up in the tree stand, and all of a sudden the wind picked up, and I thought, this isn't going to happen. This is going to be a bad day. And I looked off to the side, and this guy walked right underneath my tree stand, and it took my breath away.
Wow.
It took a double take. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what I was looking at first. That was the buck that walked up, the 8-point that walked up behind me.
A few minutes later?
So I knew.
So it was a good day.
It was a good day. I knew that I couldn't shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled my camera out. I pulled my phone out, and I thought, nobody's going to believe me. You see him from the road. I've never seen a buck from the road. I've seen a doe out near Nolensville. Mm-hmm. And there are piebalds everywhere over there. So I knew that we had a community of them. Uh-huh. I didn't know that there had been a buck in the neighborhood. So this was it was amazing.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
So you can't shoot an albino in Tennessee?
Can't shoot an albino.
A piebald you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if it has pink eyes, that's a true albino. Right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I wasn't close enough to see pink eyes or not, but I mean, he was completely white. Even his hoofs had some pinkish color on them, and so I knew not to shoot him. I got a lot of comments. I sent it to you guys first.
Right.
Because I thought that's a great way of getting it out. Don't shoot them. You can't shoot them here. You will get in trouble.
Yeah.
Do not shoot them. In fact, you guys were testing for CWD at the processor when I pulled up, and I showed the picture of it, and they said, "Did you shoot?" I said, "No," and they go, "Good answer."
Thanks to Hunter Ed class.
Yeah. But you guys took it off, and then I went to Thanksgiving, and I got phone calls. Hey, you're on the news. You're like your name, everything's on the news, and I went, oh, okay. I didn't realize that over the next week it was going to go global.
Right.
It kind of took off.
Yeah.
And then Fox News, U.S. Fox News,
Picked
took
it
it, and that's when comments started coming in, good and bad.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Well, we thank you for being with us today and helping us out with this show. And
Yeah.
we'll have you back sometime.
Yeah,
Should
that'd be fun.
Thanks,
Yes.
Amy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, thank you all for watching this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.